Welcome to hour number 2 of Freedomlink Radio. I'm Joe Joseph, along with John King and our special guest, Michael Badnarik, constitutionpreservation.org, and 2004 Libertarian presidential candidate. And before we get started with Michael, I want to bring John up to the forefront of the show and give your King's Court. So, John, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. Hello, everyone. Happy holidays and bah humbug. You whine and cry because you were pressed by your government and the banksters are winning their one world agenda. Thank yourselves. You just ensured your servitude for yet another year. That electronic game for him, that dollhouse for her, that nice non-stick cookware for her, that new golf set for him. Well, I mean, you people are so hypocritical. People bitch and whine and say it's over-commercialized, but then go out and spend everything on Chinese junk. Meanwhile, Otis the barber is going out of business, Betty's beauty shop is boarding up the windows, and Jack's used car lot is now out of business. We sit year after year, bitch about cheaply made foreign goods, but buy them anyhow. You want to make a statement? Stop shopping those China Mart stores and spend $2 or $3 extra and buy local. The money stays in your community and helps out the local economy, and it'll thrive. When you shop at China Mart, your money goes into the beast machine you're currently fighting. It's like being a slave that buys his master a new whip for Christmas every year. Look at the prior Bilderberg guest list of attendees. Not only are the heads of state listed, but financial executives from major banks like Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Royal Bank of Scotland, just to name a few. How about Pepsi and Walmart? Every time you enjoy that Pepsi or shop at one of their stores, you're paying to aid them in your enslavement. Have a Coke and a smile, because this bud's for Obama. So now they build another store, and the smaller mom-and-pop shops go down because they can't match the mega buying power of those major China Mart stores. So the China Mart store gets stronger, and there's little or no competition at all. Your local economy goes down the toilet. However, China is enjoying a major boom in their manufacturing of crap they export to America. If we don't act soon, things like TVs, computers, radios, and even light bulbs will no longer be made in this country. Guess what? They're not. Christmas makes me sick. It's no longer goodwill and trying to better oneself because it's a game of I just bought this piece of crap for $3 on Black Friday. Some stores have the nerve to display Christmas stuff, even with the Halloween stuff. I bet if the corporatocracy had their way, Christmas shopping season would start right after the 4th of July. Oh, wait a minute. It already does. A little-known thing called Christmas in July. Most smaller shops have those types of sales. You know why the rich get rich and the poor stay poor? Because they save and you spend. They hit you at your most weakest points, and you respond like the sheeple you are. So Walmart has cheaper foods. Yep, foods from Chile, Mexico, and other countries where they use cancer-causing chemicals and is allowed to spray human waste on the fields. That's why people contract E. coli when they eat the vegetables that were fertilized with poo. E. coli lives in the intestine. You're eating poo. So you're sitting down to watch that kid break that overpriced piece of crap, and your bank account is empty and your credit card is maxed out. The only thing left to do is wait for the letter from the bank stating that they will be raising your interest rates and your payments have now doubled. You're a hamster on a wheel. You're running but gaining no distance. Stop running. Shop once a week at the locally owned store. They will be glad you did. Buy gift certificates to the bowling alley or beauty shop. Get a massage. Join a gym. Work off that poo burger. Break your routine. Be more of the sum of your programming, folks, and let's Ron Paul them in 2012. Joe, back to you.
Hey, man, thanks for the King's Court, and absolutely relevant. You know, I have to say, though, that American agriculture at this point is taking a hit because you have a lot of these mom and pop farms going out because they can't compete with the mega farms. You know, it's the same thing. Michael, do we have a free market right now?
It's a joke, right?
Well, for those that don't understand, could you explain what's going on?
There is no free market. The government has been interfering with commerce, and it's not allowed to do that. It really isn't. Anytime the government uses two general methods for promoting one product or service over another. One way is to subsidize. If I'm the government and I'm giving your competitor a lot of money, your competitor can sell their product for less on the market, and everybody's going to buy your competitor's product. Not because it's cheaper, but because the government is subsidizing that product. The second technology here, or rationality, was to regulate. And I know that's difficult to believe, but in most cases, the people who are demanding the regulation are the large businesses. It doesn't matter what the business is. They send lobbyists to Washington demanding that laws be passed. And let's say the law requires $100,000 to comply with the law. Large companies can write a check. It's a drop in the bucket. But the small mom and pop shops, that $100,000 is more than the profit margin. And so that regulation, while it sounds good and well-intentioned on the surface, is there primarily to put the smaller companies out of business. And along with regulation, we've got NAFTA, GATT, all these free trade agreements, which make it expensive to do business in the United States and really cheap to do business outside the United States. And if you're a company trying to stay solvent, you're going to move your manufacturing overseas. And that weakens the United States because, we basically can't build anything anymore.
What a sad state of affairs. Jeepers Media on YouTube actually did a great expose on this SOPA Act, and it illustrated exactly what you just said. CBS Viacom owns Download.com and CNET, who just so happens to be one of the largest distributors of piracy software on the internet. However, one of the biggest companies pushing for SOPA, which is the anti-piracy bill now circulating through Congress, is CBS Viacom. So they're not only distributing the piracy software, but then they're lobbying Washington to outlaw piracy. So it's just unbelievable, the corruption that is running rampant, not only in Washington, but the world. So regulation does no good when the regulators aren't doing their job, and or the people that are supposed to be regulating are just as corrupt as the people breaking the laws. So you're absolutely right. I mean, there is no free market, and people that typically call out for regulation are the same people that are breaking the laws to begin with. It's a really sad state of affairs.
Well, the thing that frustrates me occasionally is when I get people complaining about the corporations that we got to have government to regulate them.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll be right back, folks. Sit tight. We're going to take your calls when we come back. So you're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. We'll be back in 3 minutes. There wasn't enough saber rattling going on in the world. Iran today threatened to stop the flow of oil through the Straits of Hormuz if foreign sanctions were imposed on its crude exports over its nuclear ambitions. And this is a move that could trigger military conflict with the economies dependent on Gulf oil. Michael, what's the problem with our foreign policy today?
Our government acts as though it owns the world. If Iran decides they don't want to sell us oil, instead of trying to raise the money to buy it, we just send our military in to take it. It's the equivalent of you and I going into Walmart and going, you know, $5 is too much for this product. We'll give you 50 cents. You know, and we pretend that we are buying it. Well, yeah, we're buying it at the point of a gun. That's called robbery.
There really is no, you know, why is it that we, the American people, sit silent? Because really, when you think about it, when our government goes and they wage illegal wars all over the world, if we sit silent, then we're complicit in this as well, aren't we?
We are. It's a philosophical tenet that silence is tacit approval.
Ugh, it makes me sick. Folks, anybody that wants to weigh in on this or anything else, if you have a question for Mr. Badnarik, the number is 888-320-6151. That's 888-320-6151. And we'll be taking calls from now until the rest of the hour. But, you know, I have a problem with that. And, John, I think you do too, don't you? I mean, this Iran thing is just another one of these regimes that, you know, the Western world, the United Nations, using the United States as the strong arm, is trying to take out. And who are we to pose or to push our beliefs or our values or what we think they should do on another sovereign nation?
Well, I'm an isolationist. I'll come right out and say it. I don't think we should be over there. I don't think we have any reason to be over there. We should develop technologies to make ourselves self-sufficient, take all the money that we spend guarding all these other countries like Japan and Korea and make them do the work themselves as we have had to do, and work towards a better future for our citizens over here, and just let everybody else blow themselves the hell up.
But you know something, man? I'm not so much an isolationist. I'm a non-interventionist. I believe that we can have trade and we can learn more about each other. But you don't have to go and force your will upon anybody else. You know, Netanyahu said it best in front of Congress, Michael, that they don't need our help. They don't need our help. They don't need our nation building. Their nation's already built. They don't need our troops. They already have troops, you know? And I just
Joe,
don't. Go ahead, John.
I have to interrupt you and in that rebuttal and say that I believe that it is within our trade that United States feels it has the right to go in and take and do whatever that we want. Case in point, you brought up Iran and the Straits of Hormuz. If they cut off the Straits of Hormuz, that will severely affect our trade in that region as well as the oil exports. And if we didn't have anything to do with them, even trade-wise, we really wouldn't care.
But, I mean, how long, Michael? How long can this go on before the major powers of the world finally say enough is enough?
Well, I certainly don't know. I do know that it can't go on forever. And all indications show that, you know, the governments of the world are getting to the point where they're not likely to continue purchasing our toxic assets. I mean, what the hell kind of a word is toxic assets?
Yeah,
I mean, if it's toxic, how the hell can it be an asset? This is ludicrous. And
yeah, it's an oxymoron.
It is an oxymoron, and the American people just blatantly go along. It's like, well, okay, you know, sounds good to me. It's like, aren't you paying attention?
I think a lot of people are, but they're afraid to speak out. You know, a lot of people sit and do. I truly believe with the amount of firearms that were sold in this country since Obama was elected alone, that I think a lot of people are sitting at their house right now loading their magazines and waiting for martial law to be enacted. Does that sound eerily familiar to you?
I try to do that only during the commercials. I know that the click of those bullets in the magazine. I'm trying to be good guest, but I do have a New Year's resolution. I'm not answering questions anymore after January 1st. Your callers need to call in tonight.
So, folks, call. That's 888-320-6151. Stop sitting on your hands and dial the phone. 888-320-6151. You know, that's one thing that's very interesting, Michael, is that I have a very bashful audience. And it kind of, well, a lot of it's my fault, though, because with this call system, oftentimes I screw it up. So it's just one of those things. It's operator error. It really is. No fault of the listening audience. It's purely the fault of the host. So bear with me, folks, if I do hang up on you 6 or 7 times before I get it right. But I will get it right eventually. Another thing that I would like to address, Michael, is, of course, the Constitution. It's something that you've taught for years and that you continue to teach. And you're involved now with the County Sheriff's Project, correct?
I am, and I'm very excited about it. One of the things that most people don't realize is that the county sheriff is the highest constitutional executive authority in the county. They literally have the authority to throw the federal government out of the county. My friend Sheriff Mack has been running around the country teaching these principles for a long time, and we are now planning to invite 200 sheriffs to Las Vegas at the end of January. I am being allowed to do a presentation on the Bill of Rights. Sheriff Mack will do his presentation, and the goal is to start a process where the county sheriff across the country understand their oath of office, they understand the power that they have, they understand that the people of the county will back them up. Because you were talking about all these guns that have been sold. None of the locals want to be the first one. You all want to be good, law-abiding citizens. But if the sheriff will stand up, all of those gun-owning citizens will stand behind the sheriff. And we outnumber the federal government by several orders of magnitude.
Absolutely.
And the good news is that if we do stand up, we won't have to pull the trigger. We can do this non-violently. So that's the best part about all of it.
It's fantastic. And one thing that I would love to do is get you back on the show after the conference so I could get a feel for how it went, what the participation was like, and everything else. I'm sure all the listeners would be very, very glad to hear exactly what went down then. Folks, we'll be right back after these few short messages, and we'll go to the phones. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network and AM 1650. Welcome back, folks. I encourage people to go to OrionTalkRadio.com and go get you one of those Orion Talk Radio t-shirts. Put it on and wear it proudly as you go down the street so that you get the word out to get more people involved in listening to alternative media sources, vice the vile mainstream media like CBS Viacom, who plays both sides of the fence with SOPA. But I need not. I digress. Excuse me. Let's go to the phones. I got Cracker on the line from Tampa, Florida. Man, it's good to talk to you.
Same here. I'm glad to be on with you. I've been listening to the show very closely, and I've been listening to everything that these guys have been saying. And I wish I believed like they did, but I don't. I think this has gone so far, and there's so much corruption that these people are not going to. They're not going to give up their power by just saying, you guys are not doing. You're not doing well. We're unhappy with what you're doing. They know that. They've known that for a very, very long time. That's why they've got the police state in place that they've got. And just, you can't tell me that it ain't there. I drive around, I see it.
I'm not telling you the police state's not there. That's not what I said. I said that we have an opportunity to fix it. The police state is definitely going to try to push, but we've already altered their plan. What's that?
I said, take that to the bank.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not arguing.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
The balance of power is shifting. And one of the things that Tisha's campaign has demonstrated to me is that you can motivate people. We do outnumber them by several orders of magnitude. And the Ron Paul campaign is also showing great progress. They're actually moving the voting location because, well, they know.
Yes.
They know they can't, corrupt the vote unless they do. And
exactly right.
We continue.
Well, I can tell you right now, I push Ron Paul as hard as I can. But another thing that we haven't even brought to the table here is the military-industrial complex. Do you honestly think that we would ever be able to turn them around?
We don't have to. Well, one, we don't have to turn them around because most of the military is on our side.
Right. I was just going to say that.
Your doomsday scenario assumes that, all 1.5 million of our soldiers are going to continue following orders and,
No, absolutely not. You're not putting words in my mouth like that. Let me tell you what. When the shit hits the fan, what's going to happen is everybody's going to have to make their choice of what side they're going to be on. And I've seen this federal government just shred our Constitution. It means nothing to those people.
That's right.
And I mean, when they have power like what they've got, I don't think this will ever. I hope and pray to God Almighty I'm wrong, but I don't think this will ever stop without a fight.
Oh, I think it'll take a fight.
There's ever going to be any nice way to do this?
There will be a fight, but the point is that there is a concept of overwhelming force. It's one of the favorite things that government uses. Whenever I get pulled over for a traffic ticket, I always get like 5 or 6 squad cars. My record.
Absolutely.
Record.
You're trying to make people believe that those guys are going to be on our side too.
They are.
That's absurd.
They are. Because we outnumber them. The overwhelming force works the same way. What happened in Los Angeles when after the Rodney King trial, when everybody was out in the streets? Now, admittedly, a lot of those people were just looting and pillaging and doing all that kind of stuff. What did the police do? Well, the police did absolutely nothing because they were outnumbered. And if you get angry citizens out there who have, all of these firearms that we've purchased over the last 2 or 3 years, the police, the military, they want to go home to their families as well. And there's going to be a major standoff. And that's when things are going to, oh my gosh, maybe we ought to talk basic principles. So I'm not saying that we're going to get this done without bloodshed, but we are going to get it done. Liberty is going to succeed.
Oh, you get no argument from me. I'm in full agreement that we're going to get this done.
So then why are we arguing?
I'm not as convinced as you are that the police and military are going to be on our side.
Well, let me interject this for a sec, Cracker. Hold on one second. Let me interject this for a sec. They're sorely outnumbered. So what would happen in a scenario? No doubt about it. In a scenario such as that, how could you expect that many people of military? Mind you, a lot of them are deployed overseas right now. So you don't have a big contingency of military, and even the state and local police, as militarized as they've gotten, they're not as militarized as a lot of the individuals or individual citizens that are out there. So, I don't see this as being achievable on a national scale because logistically it's damn near impossible. There would have to be just an enormous occupying force here just to be able to lock down the population centers. So that gives me hope. And then the second thing that gives me hope is the fact that out of all candidates, and you've heard me say this, Ron Paul gets more donations from active duty military than all the other candidates combined. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Well,
So,
I also think that there's a large group of military right here, right now, that are stationed here just to make sure that we don't step out of line. And I also think that the Bush administration made a deal with Canada to bring their troops in if we did. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here that this isn't going to be a Pollyanna thing.
No.
I never said that it was going to be easy. I never said that it was going to be easy. But
it's fun.
There are a lot of people all across the country who are basically taking the gloves off. They've had enough, and they are getting involved.
Yes.
Tell me about it, brother. I know a bunch of them.
Okay, so we agree that our football team is going to win the game. You think it's going to be a passing game, and I think it's going to be a running game. So, but we still both agree that we're going to win.
And I think we all agree that whatever it takes is what it's going to take, regardless if you got to rush or you got to pass or you got to do anything. I mean, it's going to be whatever it takes.
All I'm willing to tell you is I'm willing to lay my life down for it. I love this country, and I hate this government, and I have been in the military, and I do know what it's like to do that. And I'm telling you what, this government is out of control. I am so over the United States government that and this is my country.
Yes,
and I
that's
think there's a whole lot of people that think just like what I'm thinking right now. There's a lot of people that won't be as vocal as me. But I've been vocal my whole life. And, Joe, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen to what I'm going to tell you. I come from a Southern Baptist family. And as far as the organized religion, I'm with you. I don't think any of them are valid. But I will tell you this. My parents were Democrats. I'm a registered Republican, but that means nothing. If I'm so over the two-party system, it's not even funny. I don't think at the end of the day it makes any difference at all. But I told my mother when I was 16 years old. I joined the Navy when I was 17. I
could smell that. I could smell a squid a mile away. I know a squid when I hear one.
I was on a submarine when I was 17 years old. I turned 18 at sea, and I told my mother before I left for the military that this country was on its way for a revolution. How do you think that went over then?
Oh. Like a sack of potatoes.
She bounced off the walls when I told her that. Well, I'm 62 years old now. I just turned 62. And I'm here to tell you I still feel the same way.
Yeah,
I think we're so close to it, it's not even funny.
That's right. Hold on a second, Cracker. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll do the final segment. Michael Badnarik. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Stay tuned.
Are you a frequent flyer business traveler? Are you tired of paying exorbitant ticket prices?
I love getting calls from you guys because the one thing about my audience that differs from a lot of other broadcasts are the fact that I have really intelligent callers. And 9 times out of 10, they end up putting me to shame, except if you're Rich, Florida. I got your number, buddy. But Cracker, you said it best. This thing, it's not going to be easy. They've had their tentacles entrenched now in this country, in the world for that matter, and it's not going to be an easy fix. But the thing that I find solace, right? Well, the thing I find solace in is here I was just doing this, what Orion Talk Radio one day, and then the next day, my wife calls Alex Jones. It blows up. I go on Alex Jones twice in 1 week. Who the hell would have thought? You know what I mean? It's like, so I mean, weird things can happen that can have a profound effect. And many people, you may think that the little things that you do don't make a difference. They make a huge difference because you don't know how you're affecting somebody or what happened. The pebble can start the avalanche. So you never know.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. But I don't know how you got where you are, and I really don't care. I'm just really glad that you have this show because it gives everybody a chance to air their feelings, and that's really what we need to do. But,
and having quality guests like Michael come on and talk to you guys about this stuff is really important because it shows that there are people that are willing to go the extra mile to help lead us out of this, So
well, I'm if they're there to lead us out of it, I'm their best friend.
Well, cool, man. I thank you for the call.
I thank you for letting me rant. I mean, I really do.
No sweat.
Because
no sweat.
I'm gonna keep putting out what I put out until the day that I quit breathing, Joe. It's that simple to me. I'm too old to change now.
God bless you.
Well, God blesses me because if He didn't want me here, I wouldn't be here, man.
Amen to that. Amen.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. So, Michael, have you got any Constitution classes scheduled outside? You're going to a state, what is it, Nebraska, the State House?
Oklahoma City. I'm going to be teaching my class on the floor of the Oklahoma State House. Now, this is monumental.
Oh, man.
We are inviting the members of the Oklahoma State House. And, I can't tell you how excited I am.
When does this go down?
This is going to happen January 14th. Saturday, January 14th, I'll be in Oklahoma City. State Representative Charles Key is the one who has invited me to do the class. And we are inviting all of the members of the state legislature. I mailed out 100 personal invitations earlier this week, explaining to them what the class is about and encouraging them to show up.
This is fantastic news that you are. Of course, I think it's easier for you to be able to go the extra mile to do it, but to get these state reps convinced that they need the training, that they don't know it all, and that things are really screwed up. So, hopefully you turn some heads, you maybe cause some critical thinking to occur, and hell, you may be the key to this, man. That's cool.
Well, we were talking about the pebble starting the avalanche.
Yes.
And I before I even had a chance to announce it on my website, I had several people requesting me to do the same thing in their state. So we now have a project called Operation Domino Effect, and the goal is for me to teach my class in all 50 state legislatures. And so I have a bundle of envelopes sitting here on my desk that will go in the mail on Monday morning. And that will go to the Speaker of the House and the President pro tempore, which is basically Speaker of the Senate, in the other 49 states. And again, we will be inviting them to, follow suit, suggesting that you don't want the Oklahoma legislature to be the only patriotic legislature out there. And, just ultimately trying to motivate them to come out and learn about the Constitution that they swore an oath to uphold and defend.
It's fantastic. And I mean, really tackling this at the local level and then going to the state level, keeping it to the state. Do you believe that states exercising their sovereignty is really going to be key to getting this republic back on track?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be key. We're never going to succeed in our efforts if we don't manage to get the state legislatures. And the way to do that is, the state legislatures are grumbling privately because, the federal government tells them what to do. If I can go to the state legislature and wake them up, explain the 10th Amendment, say, you guys don't have to put up with this stuff. You can tell the federal government to take a long walk off a short pier. We can get that kind of action happening, then we're gonna make some changes in the United States.
What do you think would stop the state governments, though, from becoming as corrupt as the federal government? What do you think would stop that from happening?
The people. That's exactly what the Federalist Papers is all about. The reason that the federal government is supposed to have very limited powers is to keep the federal government out of our lives. And the state government, it's much easier to get to your state capital than it is to go all the way to Washington, D.C. And your representatives have an office in your hometown where you can go and grab them by the lapels and say, look, this is unconstitutional, and we're not going to let you get away with this stuff.
Fantastic. Michael, your class, how do people go about scheduling a class if they want to do so?
Best way is to call me. I answer my phone pretty much 24/7. My contact information is on my website, constitutionpreservation.org. You can just go to there's a contact page down the bottom of the website. And, if you want me in town, all you got to do is ask. Now, I can't travel for free, so there is a price involved in taking the class. But in order to restore liberty, how much would you pay for freedom?
Exactly right. And out of curiosity, what's the smallest class that you could arrange as far as
It's going to be about 25 people.
Okay.
And I'm easy. If you have a couple of classes nearby where I don't have the transportation costs, we'll work something out. But I can't do it for free.
Exactly.
I had a woman call. She wanted to know if it was possible for me to bring my class to her town. I go, well, sure. And she asked if I could teach the class for free and then just take donations at the end of the day. And I said, well, how about if I pay for an airplane ticket and pay for a hotel conference room to teach the class, go ahead and teach the class for free, and then I'll take everybody out for dinner afterwards. How about that? She goes, you'll do that? I go, no, I'm not going to do that. You think I'm made out of money?
No, I know. They're in La La Land.
It's like, what are you thinking?
Oh, well, it was great having you on the show tonight, Michael. I really enjoyed having you and Tisha Cassida on.
Isn't she wonderful?
Just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But I appreciate you coming on the show. Folks, Thursday evening, I've got Tenna Brewsty, the YouTuber with an attitude, to say the least. He'll be on to talk about current events and everything else. Again, Tisha Cassida's website is Cassida2012.com, please, please, if you can donate anything to her cause. She gets no funding from any parties. She has no party affiliation, but she is one person that could really catch lightning in a bottle if she's elected to Congress. And with that said, folks, the show is over. We'll again be on Thursday evening from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Until then,